Hello and welcome to another Bearded Geek toy review. In today's episode we're looking at this Christian Bale Batman figure from Batman Begins. Stay tuned. Swear to me! Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're looking at this DC Multiverse Batman figure from the first entry of the Nolan trilogy, and that's Batman Begins. This is obviously Christian Bale's Batman. I have not got a previous figure of him. I missed out on the one that was the Dark Knight wave, which was the collector build Bane figure, which included the Heath Ledger Joker, which is this guy here. So this is the only other Nolan related Batman figure that I have from DC Multiverse, and that also came with a Dark Knight Batman, a Scarecrow and a Two-Face, and they all came with various parts that made you assemble a Bane figure. They were notoriously difficult to get hold of. It was in that period where, you know, DC Multiverse distribution was getting really poor, and obviously the only one that I was able to actually get off eBay for a little bit more than the retail price was obviously this guy here. So we'll just put him to one side because he's technically not from this movie. We'll put him there. Doesn't he look cool with the rocket launcher from the gun pack that McFarlane did? Anyway, but here we have, this is an individual release, and this has come obviously in light of McFarlane Toys losing the DC Multiverse the rights to produce toys based on the DC Comics license and DC movies, TV series, all the rest of it. So I think Todd McFarlane's pumping out these as quickly as he can. As soon as they're obviously made in the factories, they're literally like just shoving them into pre-orders and websites and stores. If you're lucky enough to find these in the stores, UK distribution's awful. Probably a lot easier to find these in Target and Walmarts and comic book stores in America. Obviously, you're based over there. The rest of the world, we have to rely on online orders. Anyway, so I got this off Amazon. Amazon have been really good recently with DC Multiverse. Obviously, the last couple of figures that I got from DC Multiverse, which was obviously the Batfleck related figures, I got them off Amazon for standard price, so that was really cool. So this obviously has the Dark Knight Trilogy logo at the top there. We got the Batman, and then obviously that is from Batman Begins. You've got the poster artwork of Batman Begins on the back of the packaging. But interestingly, if you do zoom in a little bit, and let's just see if we can get that, they've tried to Photoshop out the actual actors' names. So rather than finding a cleaned template of the actual poster, they've taken the theatrical poster that had obviously the actors' names and production staff and, you know, writer, director, all that kind of, or Warner Brothers production, and they've kind of tried to like blur them out, but it hasn't quite worked because you can still see Katie Holmes' name there, and also I'm trying to make out whose that name is there. But yeah, so not quite successful, but you get the idea. Anyway, so that's your standard packaging for McFarlane Toys, 22 moving parts. No, interestingly, it says moving parts, not points of articulation like it used to. I wonder if that's a new thing. I've got another two Batman figures to review that have just come within the past week. That's the Batman 89 Michael Keaton figure, and also the variant of the Batfleck figure from The Flash, which is him in the more kind of grey and blue armour, which is more screen accurate to how the original version was released 2 years ago. I got that purely because it was $9.99, but more about that when I actually get to review it. So anyway, let's get this open and have a closer look. So no special inner packaging on this one. We're back to the standard kind of collage of old DC Comics comic book covers in that lovely kind of like light blue and dark blue. And obviously we have the standard DC Multiverse figure stand and the DC Multiverse trading card. Here's a quick look at the trading card. Obviously you've got the image from the back of the packet there, and you've got a nice little bit of a bio. If you want to pause that, giving you basically the plot of Batman Begins.
What is necessary? I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
And here he is out of the box. And the first thing I'm struck with is just how different the suit was between Batman Begins and obviously the suit he then wore for The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Truth be told, I actually honestly prefer this version of the suit. It's a lot less stylized. It's very kind of like more traditional than the kind of like high-tech suit he then adopted for The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. If you can cast your mind back, obviously I don't have a figure to do the comparison, but the suit that he had for Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises was effectively very much like pieces of different armor that were put on, and they were very much like all the way down, all across there. It was a smaller bat signal, which is interesting. And obviously more kind of like gauntlets across here, more kind of like protective armor. It was very much like a much more protective kind of like suit. Well, this is obviously, as we see in the movie, it's kind of like a base jumping suit that he then sprays black and obviously puts the symbol on, and then obviously adopts that. But obviously he then gets Lucius Fox to do more amendments to it. We have a cloth cape, but it's very weird. It's a different type of cloth. It's more like a polyester kind of style, which obviously gives it that sheen on the back there. So it's not an actual cloth cape. So yeah, I do actually think it comes across as a little bit cheaper than the other capes that we've had with recent figures. So yeah, but I presume it's done from the aesthetic of that, kind of like very similar to what it looked like in the movie. It does have wires down the sides here, not along obviously the back or in the middle. So it does give you that like, you know, you can style it accordingly. So we'll have a look at that in closer detail. It does come with some accessories. So we do have a bat grapple gun, which I don't even recall being in that kind of like gold colour in the movie. But I do know that his utility belt was that colour in the movie. So I don't know whether they've just done some dramatic license there. I'd have to watch it again. One thing that struck me is the fact that this film is 20 years old this year. It came out in the same year as Revenge of the Sith, the final Star Wars prequel, which incidentally me and my lad have just been to see that at the cinema this weekend, and we absolutely enjoyed it. It's really great to see those kind of movies back on the big screen again. So now obviously that came out in the same year, 2005. So I'm surprised, obviously, Warner's haven't decided to do a re-release of Batman Begins. You know, perhaps they may do later on in the year. You have the Batarang here, which obviously, again, I don't recall it being in this colour. I thought it was a much more darker grey, kind of like metal. But one thing that this gets right is that it's thin enough, so it will be held by him. So when you're actually going to, like, obviously if you want him holding that particular kind of item there, it's not too chunky for it to fit in his hand, which obviously the recent ones that we got with the Ben Affleck Batman were actually ridiculously huge and far too thick. But that's the right size for a Batarang, both in obviously its dimensions and its thickness there. So that's one of the other accessories. And then the other final two accessories are these extra hands. Now this one is a peculiar one because I get what they were trying to do. It's Batman holding 3 Batarangs. I like the idea of it, but I don't think it quite works because, for starters, the Batarangs are completely wrongly sized. I know he did have smaller ones in the movie, that kind of like that went into the some of the villains' necks and were obviously laced with like a sedative that knocked them out. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. It's a nice idea, but I think for it to work, I think the Batarangs should have been a lot bigger. But it's nice to obviously get some paint detail on there, and obviously, you know, I get what they were trying to do. The other extra hand is obviously for the other arm, and it's Batman holding what looks like a smoke bomb in his hand. But unlike this one, there is no paint detail on it at all. So I actually thought it was a fist at first, which was very strange because he already comes with a fist for that hand. So yeah, a little bit of a shame. They were skimping on the paint work on that one. Because if you weren't obviously looking very closely, you wouldn't have seen that. Because it does actually just from that view look like a fist. So those are the only extras that you get with this particular one. Obviously the Dark Knight version that they released obviously a while back, 2 years I think ago now, obviously came with like extra, you know, sections and extra bits of Bane for you to like say build that Bane figure. But let's just have a closer look. And I like the fact that there's not a lot of paint aesthetic on here. It's very much accurate to how the costume was. And as I say, I think I prefer this as a Batman costume from all 3 of the Christopher Nolan movies. Does it look like Christian Bale? A little bit. There's a little bit of a likeness in there. But obviously when you're dealing with kind of like, you know, a cowled figure, you're looking at basically the chin to get the likeness. And I don't think Christian Bale has a distinctive chin like Ben Affleck does. So yeah, but I'm loving the detail on here. Obviously, you know, you've got lots of, you know, lines going through. It is basically a base jumping like costume that they used. Obviously, you can see they've not skimped on the articulation or the detail on the back of it. So you've got that there. And obviously the only bits that are differently coloured are the gauntlets and the boots, which is really cool. The thing that obviously is a little bit thingy about is this cape. I'm not too sure about it. It's because of the material that it's made out of. It's kind of like it's flowing outwards rather than just kind of like dropping like the other ones that are made out of a more natural cloth. So yeah, it's a little bit strange. So, and obviously Bale was very much kind of like, you know, one for having the cape around him. Now, I suppose if you do it like that, with the wire in it, that looks actually really good. But then do you not also then want him in a kind of like bit of a pose? You know, like that. Or perhaps even, can we fit the grapple gun in there? Because this is the only kind of like open hand that he gets. That's obviously for use with the Batarang and the grapple gun, but that is quite easy to get in. So can you have him with that? Oh, blimey. That just very easily popped out. That's quite unusual, that. I'm not too sure whether I'm actually going to have him with the grapple gun. Because I don't think he's particularly looks as good there. But let's see what he does look like with this hand with the lots of batarangs in it. Yeah, it looks essentially like he's got basically like a glorified knuckle duster. I'm not too sure whether I like that or not. Again, I get the idea, what they were going for, but yeah, no, not quite there. So let's pop that back off. Let's pop this back on. Clip it in, and let's have him with the Batarang instead, because I think that probably works a lot better. So as figures go, I think it's really cool. Yeah, I do think he should have probably come with a more open hand. That would have made it a lot better for him to kind of like hold a Batarang in place rather than like that doing a dual purpose. But I'm really just not too sure about this cape. Really am just very puzzled by that. Obviously, the one that came with the Dark Knight build, a Bane figure wave, was a plastic cape. Then when it was re-released in the 6-figure movie pack, where they did all the, obviously, movie Batman together in one big pack, they then put cloth capes with them. And obviously that's when you had like a re-release of the 89 Keaton Batman. They had the Kilmer Batman, they had the Clooney Batman, they had a re-release of the Justice League battle suit of Batfleck, and then they had the re-release of the Robert Pattinson Batman. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just sticks out. It's not really doing it. I get it. It looks okay, but because it's not got that weight to it, it is not holding down. And what do I do? Do I stick it between his legs like that? So to give it, but even then, it just pops out. So yeah, I get obviously with the shinier kind of like material, like say it's more like a polyester kind of material than an actual cotton or cloth that they've used in the previous cloth capes. But yeah, that's the only thing that's I'm not too keen on with this particular figure. But otherwise, he does look very cool, and I'm very pleased to have this addition to my DC Multiverse figures and also my Batman figures. I do seem to be collecting quite a lot of Batman figures at the moment, but he is my favourite DC superhero, and I am a fan of most of his movie appearances. So I like this representation most. This costume from Batman Begins is, I think, the better version compared to the other two. And yeah, I do like this version. It's just a shame the cloth cape is just not as kind of like weighty and doesn't flow down as much. But I don't know, perhaps it will do over time. Perhaps that's just one of those things of it straight out of the packaging. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, highly recommended. Oh, there we go. Just off camera, I was just having a little bit of a play with it. Obviously, having him holding the Batarang a little bit better. And just push this bit down a little bit more with the wire cape. Had that folding around the arm. And that looks a lot better. It's not sticking out as much at the back. So you can, he says, and then he moves it around and it's there. But yeah, from a face-on point of view, that does look probably a lot better than what it was looking as it came out of the packet. So yeah, you can probably just do a lot of like kind of like moving around just to put that kind of like shape that cape to how you want it to appear. But there you go. Yeah, I think he looks cool in that pose. And finally, just a very, very quick comparison of how he looks next to some other cinematic Batman, and also how he scales up next to them. Now, obviously, we've got the Keaton version of Batman, but this is his version from the Flash movie. I haven't yet taken the 89 Keaton Batman out of the packaging yet. So that will be probably my next DC Multiverse review. And then obviously on the right here, we've got the Batman vs. Superman Batfleck, which I always kind of like did say in the review. I thought he looked a little bit skinnier compared to obviously how much Ben Affleck bulked up for the role. But it just gives you some kind of like comparison of how all these figures scale up next to each other. So there you go. Different eras of cinematic Batman. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, then please leave us a like. It really does help out the channel. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell, or hit that subscription button if you've not yet subscribed to the channel. Also, to show your support, you can either click the link in the description below and buy me a coffee, because that always helps. And plus, you know, I use the money to buy more products. Anyway, lots of cool new videos to come, but in the meantime, thank you very much for all your continued support, and we'll see you very, very soon on Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. Bye now.
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
Bruce?